Hello, 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 everyone. It's Dr. Tamar Beckford. And you know what? I got a question. Now, how many of you out there, you have gone through burnout and you were like, okay, I got through it. I did all the things. I feel really, really great. I am really out of the woods and I'm feeling good. But then this thing just starts to sneak back at you. And you're like, I recognize these signs and symptoms. Don't tell me I'm heading back into burnout. The answer might be you might be. Why? Because burnout can be cyclical and it is mean and evil. That is mean and evil because you did all this work to get out of it, but yet still it could come back. And then you are looking like, how did I get here? How did I get here? Well, I'm going to tell you how you got here. And most importantly, we're going to go over some ways for you to break free so that it is less likely that you will go through burnout again because that cycle of burnout, no, we're not going to let it catch you. All right. So let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. Now, before we go, if you like this, like, share, and I'd love if you would comment, share some comments so we can really, really communicate. Right. All right. So, how did you get back in this vicious thing called burnout? Let's talk about it. What did you start to say yes to when you really were looking at your calendar, right? So the way that it sneaks up on you is that you're feeling good. I did all the things and I recognize burnout. But then projects start to come up and you're like, yeah, I can do that. It shouldn't take that much time. Yes, I can do that additional meeting. Nah, it shouldn't really take too much time. Yes, I can do that. So you start saying yes to small things because for you in your mind, a big project, oh no, that will put me in burnout. But all these multiple small things are not going to put you in burnout, really. When you start having these multiple small yeses, and they start to pile and pile and pile. Then you start to get what? Exhausted. You start looking at all the things that you have to do, and you start to now feel that level of exhaustion. I've said yes to everybody. My calendar is now piled up high again, right? And what is some of the first thing that you start doing? Other than the fact that now you're worn out, then you start neglecting the most important person in this whole equation, which is you, right? So now we're neglecting self care. So we're out there just like, alrighty, some of us are not eating, some are eating too much and just trying to cope, barely getting by. Now, here's the other thing, too, that's really evil because you're like, I'm neglecting myself, I'm not getting that much sleep. I'm eating poorly. I'm not exercising. I'm not doing any movement because I'm here doing and trying to commit to all these things that I have said yes to, right? I said yes to all these things. So now we're in self neglect and we go, 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 and crash and burn. When we crash and burn, what's going on? Sheer exhaustion. Some of us are gaining weight and we're like, this is not even fair because I'm barely eating. So you are slowing down. And guess what your metabolism is doing at the same time? hmm That's right. Your metabolism is slowing down. So you're dealing with these aches, the inflammation, you're fatigued, you're just not in the right space, and you're probably getting upset. And who are you getting upset with? So some people will actually get upset with themselves. Others will project it, right? So which one are you? Are you projecting your anger at the people who you care about the most? Are you projecting that anger that you have now put yourself in a position where you did not want to be and you're in that position again because you worked on this before, but the cycle came back and you're in this position and now you're upset, but you don't want to own responsibility of that. So you start to project it, right? So all these people who love and care for you are getting the worst of you. You're either lashing out at them, right? You're lashing out, or you're emotionally unavailable. That's another way, right? That's another way of lashing out. You might not be saying it with your words, but you might be saying it with your actions. And these are the people who you care about the most, right? So you're seeing that, and then you're like, okay, this is happening. Let me do a redo. We're gonna go on vacation. We're gonna just step away for a few days, long weekend. Okay, so you do that long weekend and you come back. 2 days, you're right back in the same position, feeling exhausted, really upset, and just having no fulfillment. And who is getting the brunt of this? People you care about the most, lashing out at them, or even internally lashing out at yourself, right? That's the cycle. And if you think that that little break that you took to go on this vacation, if that alone is going to fix it, unfortunately, you're wrong. You might have done that before and you recognize that it didn't help. And so you might be saying, well, there's no way that I can get through this because burnout, you can't get through burnout because I took a break and it didn't work. Okay. Taking a break is one thing, but did you do the true internal work? That's the hard part. But that's what can bring you the lasting results. Now think about it. When you did the work for the burnout and you see it coming, what is one thing that you can do to prevent it from full on assault, right? One, awareness. Okay, maybe have a check on your calendar every 6 weeks. Tap and look at your calendar and see how many commitments do I have on this calendar? How many of those commitments are for people or for things that I truly want to do, right? Are you starting to overcommit? If you find yourself overcommitting and you find yourself adding things to your calendar that's, I said yes, but it's not that big of a deal. I really don't want to attend. I really do not want to participate. I really don't see myself. If any of those phrases are coming to your mind, this is the time for you to reevaluate that commitment. This is the time for you to contact that person and make them aware that you might be withdrawing your commitment so that you can have the time and space for yourself, right? Now, does that mean that you'll never be or help that person out of that commitment? No, but maybe this is just not the time, right? Because if you pile all of these activities on now, you're putting yourself at risk for entering right back into that cycle of burnout. So first, awareness. Take that time and look at the calendar. Now, the second one, and this is the thing about burnout. Burnout is at its fiercest when you start to neglect your boundaries. Ooh, burnout comes after you. It's like just looking there like, okay, oh, you saying yes. Oh, yeah, now. I'm heading into that person because they're saying yes to everything. So you need to start to uphold some of these boundaries. If you recognize when you were working on your internal audits and internal things of what pleases you, what doesn't please you, things you want to do, what you do not want to do, commitments that work for you, commitments that don't work, and you have written down that list so you know it, but then you start to go against it. So now you're breaking some of your boundaries. Burnout will seep in. That's when overcommitment will come in, right? So check the boundaries that you've set. And keep in mind, when people hear boundaries, I think it might have a negative connotation. And people think that you're just like, no, 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 and in a negative way or mean or you're lashing out. Boundaries don't have to be mean. The boundaries are made for you, right? So you don't have to be mean when you're setting your boundaries. And you don't have to state it in a mean way. If you're not a mean person and you don't lash out and with negative tone, you don't need to be like that now. You're really setting this for you. So no can just be no. It doesn't have to be with a mean tone. It can literally just be, no, not at this time. End of story, right? But remember, those boundaries are important because when you start to release your boundaries, then you are inviting burnout back into the equation, right? And then the third thing that's important that you can do is sustainable self-care, because we talk about self-care, unfortunately, is one of the first thing that goes away when you are in the deep thing, the deep belly of burnout. Self-care goes away. So some people, we've talked about self-care. Self-care comes in many forms, but deep lasting self-care is what we're talking about. So yes, the hair, the nails, the spa, those are form of self-care for some people, helps to relax them, which is good, right? That hits the surface. Now the deep work is the sustainability things, which are like good rest. Now you might tell me, so well, I get a good 4.5 hours. Okay, that's a start, especially if you're doing 3. But let's try to increase good rest, right? That rest that gives your brain time to do the most important thing that it's set to do, which is to recalibrate, to fix all the little broken cells that's going on in the body. So you think that sleep is just for you to dream? No, your body's repairing itself during that time. How about we give it a chance to do so, right? How about we give it a chance to build those lasting memories? How about we give it a chance to solve some of those problems that you had while you were awake? When you give yourself rest, that's what's going on. In addition to all the positive hormones and repairing that goes on, allow the body some time to do that. That's what's needed for longevity, right? So, longevity is great rest. Longevity is really now looking at the things that you want and keeping some of those, and the things that no longer serve you, releasing it. Or if there are activities that needs to be done, you do not have to be the one to do everything. You can start delegating, right? And people hear delegating and they're like, but I ain't got no money to pay for all of this. Hello, people have been asking to help you. And what have you been saying? No, that's okay. I'll just get it done. Why? Because you don't want to bother that person. But that person is inviting you, they're asking to help you. So use that opportunity. So delegating doesn't necessarily mean with a financial standpoint. You can be able to help and support someone, and that person supports you with time, with um, energy. Delegate some things that you no longer need to do in the home if it's taking away time from you with the people you love. Find ways to do that. If you were to sit down, I'm pretty sure you can at least come up with three ways to be able to get some activities off of you, right? So, as we mentioned, burnout, she's tricky. Yes, you thought you got over it, but if you are not careful, it'll come right back because it is cyclical. So, look out for the signs. Are you starting to say yes too much? Are you heading back into exhaustion? Are you starting to neglect yourself, right? If you are noticing some of these things, one, you tap into the fact that I'm aware, let me start to adhere to some of these boundaries. Let me go ahead and work on self care, lasting self care, rest, delegating some of the activities that I do not need to do, right? Work on lasting ways for health, and also ways for me to be able to take care of myself, sleep, rest. And if you need support, tap into support, such as coaching. That's what I do. I've been able to help many women who were backed into the corner by burnout because they will back you into the corner into thinking that this is just how my life is going to be. No burnout, not on my watch, right? You do not have to live that way. If you are looking for a way to get back to the you that you know, where you're feeling fulfilled, finding joy, peace, then allow me to support you. Contact me. Let's see if working with me is something that you will be able to get the support and the journey on this journey of burnout, on this journey of breaking free from burnout. I've been able to help others. We can see if this is the same for you, right? Contact me. The link, I've put it into the chat, right? Just there is a link for Calendly. We'll jump on that Calendly and see if that is something that's for you. That is no pressure. It's really just us having a conversation. I'm not going to pressure you. Burnout is already pressuring you. You don't need additional pressure, right? So do not allow burnout to win. You can live the life that you want. You can live the life that you deserve. You can get over burnout. And if you see it coming back, you can recognize it and stop it before it takes back that ugly cycle back into your life, right? So hopefully you were able to learn something from today's live. Leave me a comment. I'd love to hear from you. I absolutely would. And if burnout tried to come back at you, let me know and let me know what you did, right? I'm Dr. Tamara Beckford, and I'm here to help you break free from burnout. I've said it before and I'll say it again. I'm here to help. I'll see you guys next time. Take care.